Hello, I'm Len Cannon. How about a dose of hope and healing right now? A Patton Village police officer was one of the first community transmitted cases of coronavirus in the Houston area. He was hospitalized about a week after attending the rodeo barbecue cook-off. He spent weeks on a ventilator. Anayeli Ruiz talks to him about his road to recovery.
Meet Chris Hernandez, a police officer with the Patton Village Police Department. He's been an officer for more than 20 years, and in his career, he's been shot before. But he says that doesn't compare to what he endured at the hospital just a few weeks ago as his body was fighting COVID-19.
Or to what do you call it? Compare the two. I would rather be shot again than have to go through COVID. That's how bad it was. Yeah.
Officer Hernandez says he started with small pains, but after 2 trips to the doctor's office, it all quickly escalated, and he knew he had to go to the hospital.
And I made it about halfway through the parking lot of the emergency room, and I had to stop and breathe again because I was basically suffocating. I guess you could put it. Felt like you were drowning.
Hernandez checked himself into Chi St. Luke's Hospital in the Woodlands. Little did he know he had COVID-19, and he was one of the first known community spread cases in our area. He was on a ventilator in critical condition.
Did I think that I could possibly die from it? Yes, I did.
And finally, after 2 weeks of being in the hospital, his body started fighting back, and he miraculously recovered. And now he says he's counting his blessings and is grateful to be alive.
I've beaten every odd out there on how sick I was, and I'm just very blessed. It's like the staff told me, it's a miracle, and I'm happy to be alive.
Anayeli Ruiz, KHOU 11 News.
Shocking to hear him say he'd rather be shot than have to go through what he just went through, but we are glad the officer is okay tonight.